All right, welcome to episode 3 of season 3 of Hiking with Anderson. I'm Dr. Owen Anderson, and we're out here on San Jacinto, continuing our hike. This is the third step along the way. You can see the vegetation's changed a little bit, the scenery behind me's changed a little bit, but what's staying the same is our topic. We're still thinking about the necessity of special revelation. Why do we need redemptive revelation? Along the way, we've been singing the Psalms of Ascent, or the Pilgrim Psalms, and these are reminding us about some of the biblical themes that come out in the biblical worldview about redemption and our need for redemptive revelation to know God. Looking at Psalm 124 right now. 124 and 125 especially remind us to trust in God as we go through valleys, as we go through trials in life. And so they use that image of either trusting in the Lord or the mountain of the Lord. 124 says, "If it had not been the Lord who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side when men rose up against us, then they had swallowed us up quick, when their wrath was kindled against us." The strife and struggles that sometimes come up in life, and especially between belief and unbelief, and between worldviews. And so as we climb the mountain, as our thoughts ascend, we're nevertheless reminded of those struggles, both actual struggles between belief and unbelief externally, but also in ourselves. We think about how we've had to struggle to overcome. The last verse says, "Our help is in the name of the Lord, who made heaven and earth." And that really is the beginning of special revelation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So when we're looking for Scripture, we have a number of things in mind already from general revelation. We have truths from general revelation that we remember, specifically the eternal power and divine nature of God, which is clearly seen from the things that are made. And we see that reaffirmed in the biblical worldview. And we need redemption precisely because we've turned away from that. We've not seen what's clear about God. We believed the lie, the original temptation, was that you could be as God, knowing good and evil the way God does. And so we believed that because we weren't seeking. Because we didn't seek, we didn't understand, and we didn't do what is right. And it's in that condition that we need redemption. And so the origin of special revelation must be from God. We're not looking for simply another philosophy book or an interesting book about human nature or human virtues, an interesting book about self-help or how to do better. We're looking for redemptive revelation. And because all humans are in that condition of needing redemption, it's not ultimately authored by humans. It's ultimately divine. It's inspired by God. And so it would be a book that claims to be inspired by God. Now, if you think about the world scriptures, not very many of them say that. I mean, there are lots of world scriptures in one sense, but not many of them begin with, it's clear that God exists, and only God is eternal, and God is a creator, and God has inspired scripture. For example, a polytheistic text, like the Iliad, or some story about Orpheus or Osiris. These aren't claiming to be that at all. They're not consistent with general revelation. So they're not contenders for special revelation. So our help is in the name of the Lord, who made heavens and earth. That is our source of redemption. And then Psalm 125, incidentally, we're using this travel-sized Psalter here to sing some of these, and it doesn't contain all the Psalms. It contains most of them. It's nice and compact, easy to use. I guess that counts as a commercial, right? A commercial break in Hiking with Anderson. Psalm 125, "They that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be moved, but abideth forever." I think of the pilgrims singing these Psalms as they're walking to Jerusalem 3 times a year for the festivals, going up Mount Zion. Here we're only using this as a kind of analogy for that, but hiking up the mountain and thinking about the salvation of God. As the mountains are around about Jerusalem, so the Lord is round about his people. And you can see that as a picture, ending with, "But peace shall be upon Israel." So looking for redemption from God, singing the Psalms of Ascent, as we look to God for our redemption, the origin of Scripture must be from God. So we've looked at the necessity for Scripture, we've looked at the content of Scripture, and we're looking now at the origin of Scripture. It must be from God. You might ask, how do we know no one seeks, and no one understands, and no one does what is right, and therefore humans can't be the origin of Scripture? Well, we know that because everyone's dying. Remember that from the first episode, that natural evil is a callback from moral evil. So just that very fact that all persons are under natural evil shows that no one's seeking, no one understands, no one does what is right, and we need Scripture from God. That's the origin. So we're making progress. We're thinking about a lot of what we can know before we even come to Scripture, and then because of that, why we need Scripture. And thankfully, these Psalms are helping direct our attention to that mountain of God where redemption comes. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you soon.